Hey folks, Marzidi here from the Bullish Bears. We're going to talk a little bit about NinjaTrader and why you might consider it as your platform. Pros and cons, it may be appropriate for you, may not, but I'm going to cover the things that I've learned. Disclaimer, I've only been working with this for a couple of days now. I have only scratched the surface in knowing what this platform can do. But I talked about it some in the streams on Friday, August 1st, 2025, in the morning and afternoon streams, and received some requests to go ahead and make a video about it. So I said, okay, understand again, I've just been learning this platform. There's a lot of things I do not know about it yet, but we're going to dive into this and see what we can kind of find. Now, first of all, why NinjaTrader? Why? That's really the biggest thing that we're going to cover. And I'm going to bring up a conversation I had with ChatGPT about this. It's going to be bright, so, dim your eyes. And where's my conversation? Yeah. So this is what I was telling ChatGPT. I have a lifetime license with Tradovate. Now, relevant to you, you may have a monthly or an annual subscription with Tradovate to get the reduced commissions. I happen to have a lifetime one. I also get my data feed from Tradovate. That's important also, and I'll come back to that. Presently trade on Tradovate for my futures. I've been using TradingView and Thinkorswim for my charting, and I'm considering switching to NinjaTrader. I'm fluent in using Thinkorswim scripting, so a couple questions. Number one, I'm going to go ahead and answer these as I go through them. Connecting NinjaTrader to Tradovate means I will get the same rates and commissions. So if you log into NinjaTrader with your Tradovate ID, login ID, and password, it will connect your NinjaTrader to your Tradovate. And because of that, whatever your subscription is, monthly, annual, lifetime, to Tradovate, will be honored by NinjaTrader. So you will get the reduced commission fees that you get in Tradovate in using NinjaTrader. Now I have a subscription to Edgeful, and they have scripts that they can put on TradingView. And the question was, well, are they available on NinjaTrader? And the answer is yes. There's a little bit of an extra step involved, but yes. Mentor Q extended us a short complimentary subscription so we could learn a little bit about their product and talk about it some. And their scripts also work on NinjaTrader. It's well known that Tradovate's charting ability is crap. If you ever try to draw a diagonal line, for example, you'll know that it only works on that time period. Move to a different time period and it doesn't work. Different things, issues like that. And what ChatGPT says later on in its response is that it considers Ninja's charting platform to be professional grade. And we'll look at that as well. Can I place orders on the chart? It's a little bit different, but yes. It's a little bit different, but yes, we can. Can I set up multi-leg OCOs? Like buy two contracts, set one stop at -5, the other stop at -10, one take profit at +5, the other take profit at +10. The answer is yes. In fact, because you have connected your NinjaTrader to your Tradovate, those templates that you have under Tradovate actually will automatically just show up in Ninja, which I thought was pretty cool. I didn't expect that. I figured I was going to have to recreate everything. Nope, they were right there. Tradovate has owner lock limits, such as locking your account if you've lost $500 for the day, or $100, or whatever your personal lock limit is. GPT says that yes, NinjaTrader can do the same thing, but I have not personally investigated how to do that. It does tell how to do it down here in the answers. We'll look at that. It was commonly known at one time that NinjaTrader's stops and limit orders were on the trader's PC or phone instead of the server. Well, after they merged with Tradovate, everything's on the server now. You say, well, what's that matter? Well, let's say that you get into a trade, you've got your stop loss, you've got your take profits, and then you lose your internet connection. Under the old NinjaTrader, you had a problem. You had a major problem because you had a naked position in the trade because it did not know about your stops and your take profits. After the merger, though, between Ninja and Tradovate, or the acquisition where Ninja bought Tradovate, everything is on the server now. So if you have an internet loss, all your stops and takes profits are on their servers and will be honored on their side. Okay. So that is basically everything that it said. A couple of downsides. There's a little bit of a learning curve learning NinjaTrader. It is available on Windows. I'm not 100% certain about their Mac or Unix. So it's Windows. This business here, about a 5 to 25 cent, is for third-party integration. Tradovate is considered, an acquired company, so it's first party, not third party, and so on. Okay, so let's get rid of that for the moment. So that answered a lot of my initial questions about NinjaTrader. All right, so this is kind of what a chart layout may look like. Blah, 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 blah. This is one that I've crafted. And as you can see, I've got multiple panes here on the left. I've got my watch list down here on the bottom. They call it Market Analyzer. Same thing, watch list. On the bottom, I've got my, this is on a 30-minute. And this is your trading panel over here. Or you can right-click and buy and sell here. It does understand about the business of being above or below the ticker, whether you're just like Tradovate does. That's fine. You got your DOM and all that kind of stuff. Now, what I'm going to do, I am, however, going to close all of this out. Workspace. I'm on the MES, and I'm going to close it. And no, I don't want to save it. And so I've got nothing. All right, so let's go through what happens when we first log in. And this is a little bright on your eyes. Here is your login. Now, when you first go to NinjaTrader.com, you've got to do the standard open an account, tell it about your finances, click, go through the disclaimers and all that kind of stuff, just like you do with any broker. But the fact that you used your Tradovate username and password, it will immediately know that you have a Tradovate account, and so it'll immediately see how much money's in it and all that kind of stuff, and so it won't prompt you to fund it and all that kind of stuff. I'll come back to this other thing on the right here in a minute. That comes later on, but this is the screen here when you first launch the software, that it'll come up, ask for username, password, and that's where we put in our Tradovate username and password. So we'll come back to that in a few moments. So here's where your screen looks like initially. It just comes up to this blank blah. Let's go through the menus real quick, and then I'm going to create some charts, then I'll just kind of show you a few things. New. This is where we add things to our background here. Like here's where we add our charts. Level 2, the market analyzer, aka the watch list, news, time and sales, things like that. NinjaScript does have a script editor, scripting language, just like TradingView has PineScript. NinjaScript uses C#. Even ChatGPT knows how to work with it. There are some glitches. There is a glitch that towards the end of the video, if I remember to do it, I will come back and talk about that, on how to fix it. Under tools, you've got things such as database management. So tools, database management. This is where we come to update the contracts it's staying abreast of. In other words, when we talk about that gold has rolled to a new contract, ES has rolled to a new contract, this is where I will come for it to pull all the new updated info. So all you got to do is just click the update button, and that's all there is to it. Takes about 30 seconds. Import here is where somebody gives you or you go out and you get a pre-made Ninja script, and you can just simply load it right here. Interestingly enough, you can make scripts for all kinds of stuff. Let me just show you that real quick here. I'm not going to get into it at this point. I'll come back to it. But you can add-ons, bar types, chart style, drawing tools if you want to make your own drawing tools, indicators, all strategies, different things like that. Really cool. One of the more interesting things about NinjaTrader is it can do an automated trading bot. And you can do that automated trading bot. I admit I'm a little nervous about that, but it supposedly can do it. I have not dabbled with that yet. A workspace is where you set a layout. Well, you know, your layout, all the charts and the DOM and all that kind of stuff like you like it. Then you can save it so that it'll be there if you ever want it in the future. Or you can set up multiples, and you can come back to them at later times. Now, initially, the connections, we'll pause here for just a moment. When you initially come here, it'll be live, playback, and simulation. Excuse me. And that's because you're connected and getting your data from Tradovate. Pardon me one second. A little bit of the froggies there. So initially it's connected to Tradovate, so it's feeding off your data subscription on Tradovate. Now, that's fine if all you're doing is trading futures or whatever. You may have a reason that you want to use or need to reference equity tickers like SPY, QQQ, or NVIDIA. Now, you can go to Tradovate and pay the $3, $4 a month for the equity tickers, and it will work in Tradovate. But for whatever reason, it will not cross over into NinjaTrader. Don't know why, just doesn't work. So in my case, I have an account with Schwab. So since I have an account with Schwab, I can live trade or simulate trade through Tradovate, but I can pull equity tickers from Schwab. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. In order to, let me go back through this here. Let's go over to Tools and Settings. I really am only interested in going through this general tab right here for right now. So I'm going to zoom in on this. And we're going to take a closer look on this Tools, Settings, General tab. You can give it an email address, just where to email you on different things. There's really only several things. There's 2 or 3 things here I really want to point out. The first is if you want to enable, like in my case, I enabled Schwab so that I could pull equity tickers in. I have to click this multi-provider checkbox. And then once I do that, then I can add other brokers. And we'll go back and look at those brokers in a moment. But the other thing that I want to show you is, well, first of all, actually, slate dark. It comes up all bright white. I can't stand white, so I changed it to slate dark. That's a good color for me. This symbology display style, this confused me to no end when I first started using this. Numeric, so when we talk about the ES over on the bullish bears, we'll refer to the contract, for example, as the ESU5, which is the current contract here in August 2025. And we'll say it's the ESU5. Well, Ninja defaults to numeric, and so it'll come up as ES925. And so you got to kind of get used to that. You can also you can also select monthly, and so it'll come up ES September 5, or exchange, which is ESU5. So I'm not going to change it right now because it requires a reboot of the or shutdown and restart of the software. But if you want to be on the same plane as everybody else, make sure you go to here under symbology display style exchange. All right. You've got different little sounds you can have, different things like that. All right. Now let's zoom back out. So I talked about that multi-provider button, and when you do that, then this configure opens up right here. And when we configure it, these are the other places, let's zoom in on that, that we, where it can pull data. Bar chart, Coinbase, Forex.com, interactive brokers, a little bit weird. I started to do that one there, and it was really complicated, so I said forget that. Schwab, Rhythmic, and of course, Tradovate. Okay, so that's the different sources that they have as far as getting the brokers' data, different things like that. Under Help, there is an About. Now, if you have anything like Edgeful, where you're getting their levels put on your chart for you, or services like that, and when it's done differently in TradingView, you give Edgeful your TradingView username, and they push the ticker, the scripts to TradingView and turn them on for you on TradingView, and they show up under invite only. However, in NinjaTrader, they're going to give you a file that you're going to download. You're going to go to Tools, Import, and you will import that NinjaScript add-on. But it's a script that is not activated, and what you have to do is you have to send to, and I'm going to use Edgeful as an example. You go to Edgeful, you download the script from them, you come here and you add it in and load it into your platform. Then you go to Help, About. We'll bring that bright. This is bright screen. And you get this screen here on the right, where it's going to give you this machine ID. Whoops, try that again. This machine ID number right here. And you're going to copy this number, and you have to send it back to Edgeful. And that will enable then everything about that script and unlock it on your system. So until they flip the switch on their side, you will get an error message about that indicator, like the Edgeful orb. So let's say that you've loaded the Edgeful orb indicator. So you downloaded the software from Edgeful, You imported it into NinjaTrader. Then you send the machine ID to Edgeful. Now you can put the script on the chart all you want to. Nothing will happen. I mean, it won't actually put any lines on there because it's not activated yet, and you probably will get an error message telling you that the script is not authorized. When Edgeful flips the switch, presto, everything starts to work. So that's how getting both Edgeful, MentorQ, other services that have paid indicators, that's how that works. Certainly, if you've got any questions about these kind of things, you're always welcome to send me a message. Okay, so there's the help. Finally, we've got the little chat bot here. This is their AI virtual assistant where you can ask it questions about, well, how do I change the background color? How do I this, that, or the other? And it can, hopefully answer questions for you about how to use the platform. All right. So there's the little bot. Okay, I think that is everything here. I know this is the boring, really, really boring parts. I get that. And there's lots of things here that I still don't know what they do yet. And they do have up here in the top right corner. Let's see if I can get this to open up. If you click watch, they have a daily news broadcast. Like Schwab does, like Tasty Trades do. Ninja's got a daily thing, different shows going here as well. So that's kind of cool. So if you want to watch something while you're busy doing something else or waiting for a setup, you can do that. Okay. Let's get into actually setting the layouts now. I'm going to go to New, and I'm going to say Chart. Now, the first thing I've got to do is give it a ticker. So let's talk about the tickers. Recently tested or used tickers are up here at the top. These are your categories down here. So let's just go to the futures. Now remember, I'm not on the exchange version, so my tickers futures here is going to say ES 925. But if I were to switch it to exchange back over there under the tools and settings, it would say ESU5 or U25. Here's where I can initially tell it by the minute or whatever. Let's just make this a 5-minute chart. Come on, there. I can tell it how many days to load in of the 5-minute chart. The trading hours come in from back there when I was talking about doing the update, the database management thing. Candlestick, colors, what your execution colors are, buy and sell, different things like that. All right. So I say OK, zoom out, and I have a chart. Pretty boring looking. So we're going to talk about a couple things to understand. First of all, I'm going to show you, before I forget, I want to show you something very important here. Here's a chart of the ES. I'm going to go up here, and it's on the 5 minutes. I want a 30-minute. Select the ES, the default properties. Oops. Let's say I want to change the time. I'm going to come up here and click on this 1 minute. These are pre-laid out times and ranges and ticks. You can configure and put your own custom in here. But for this one, what I want is a 30-minute chart. So I come to minute, and I come to the right, and I find 30. So you've got a lot of these already laid out for you, but again, you can configure this to create your own. So I have a 30-minute chart. You say, well, what happened to the 5-minute chart? That is because each window is an individual window. What do you mean? What I mean is, I'm going to come down here to my icon, and you can see I have the opening panel, 1, 2 charts. So I click that. So now I have the 30 on the left, the 5 on the right, but behind these two is the main window, and if I click it, it overrides the others. And that's because these windows are not inside of this window. They're all individual windows. So what you've got to train yourself to do, minimize. And then what you're left with are your charts. I've minimized my browser. I've minimized everything else on this monitor so that I'm left with these windows. Now, Signet talks a lot about Power Toys, is able to, if you download Power Toys for Windows, that it's got a way to group a bunch of independent individual windows together, snap them together as one thing, and then you just hit a hotkey and bam, it brings all those windows up. So I've yet to do that, but I definitely will be looking into that because of this reason. These are all independent floating windows. Okay. Now, it's a little bit of a quirk. You just have to learn to get used to it. So let's open this up. Navigation, let's start there. On a lot of platforms there, we just left click and hold to move the chart around. Here I'm sliding back left and right. That makes sense. That works. Okay, but if I slide up and down, nothing happens. Well, in most other platforms, what you have to do is you have to come over here to the price axis and just move it a little bit, and then all of a sudden, no, it still doesn't unlock it. So here in NinjaTrader, I have to hold my control key down and then left click and move. So if I want to do this, I've got my control and my left mouse button held down. So a little bit different, just something to learn. Like Tradovate, if your screen is way over here, you can come up to this arrow in the top right corner and click that to slam it all the way back to the right. And if it's all scrunched up like this, there's a tiny little F right up here in the top right corner that I hit that, and it fully expands it vertically. Okay. If you want to compress the time, you have to come down to the time bar down here and click and drag to compress or expand. All right. So there's a few things that are unique about this platform, and again, once you know this, it's not that big of a deal. So let's talk about putting some drawings here. There's several little menu icons across the top. They're tiny, but everything that is up here, right click, pretty much everything is here as well. So for example, this is covered up by my mouse, but it says chart style. I'm in Candle. I could click this and I could move to Equinox, blah, 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 blah. What I don't see here is Heikinashi. Interesting. But that is an add-on. It's probably under indicators. We'll go look. Here's your drawing tools right here. There's a bunch of them. Good Lordy, there's a bunch of them. And you've got pretty much all your different drawing tools. You've got your zoom in, zoom out. You've got cursors. Now notice, if you notice, as I move the cursor in the right panel, it's also moving in the left panel. Well, that comes from a setting here in cursor where you can tell it, I'm on what's called global, but no time scroll. Meaning that if I put it on global and time scroll, is when I have it over here in the right, it will ensure that the left one is also, it'll move the left one so that you can see the cursor over there as well. Local means it shows up only in the active chart. It doesn't show up in the other charts, okay? Next. The show data box brings this little data box right here. And as you move your cursor over a candle, it gives you the high, the low, the open, and the close. Okay. If you have added studies, MACDs, RSIs, their values will appear down here as well. One of the nice things, though, that I've noticed here, though, is just like you've got the data box on Tradovate, Tradovate, though, doesn't, you've got your time, price, open, high, low, close here. And in NinjaTrader, that stays at the top, but it kind of floats in Tradovate. If you've got a bunch of other studies, you may find that your studies are listed first, and then the open, high, low, close is listed second or third and scrolls down below the box, outside of the box. But with NinjaTrader, it's always fixed up here at the top, so that's nice. The next thing up here is this chart trader. Now I'm going to turn chart trader. There's chart trader and chart trader hidden. Here's chart trader. It puts this over here where we can make our trades. It also enables, if I right click here, I now have these sell and buys here. So if I go to chart trader hidden, it hides this panel but allows you to right click on the chart. All right. I mentioned earlier that our ATM strategies from Tradovate would port over, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Apparently, they were here the other day. Now, oh, that's right, I'm on the demo account. That's why. If I was on my live account, my At the Money strategies or whatever they're called would come over and would have just been populated here. They're not because I'm in the demo. But let's just say I want to do a custom. It's easy. Let's zoom in. How many orders? 3. 3 contracts. Good till cancel. We're going off ticks. Stop loss, 12. Whoops, come here. Take profit. This is going to jump around apparently. 20. I guess I'm going to have to reduce this. All right. Stop strategy. Custom. Auto break even. Profit trigger. Now, this is screen's going to jump, but let's say I put a profit trigger here, 5 ticks. I'm 5 ticks in the money. Whoops, 5. And so if the move starts to move in my money, if it hits 5 ticks, my stop automatically jumps to +1 tick. So I've locked in that $12.50, which at least covers commissions. Oh, whatever. Then you can save this as a template, give it a name, and it will show up over here. So we'll just save this as a template, and we'll call it temp. We'll just call it temp. All right. So here. Oh, wait, I set that up wrong. Excuse me. That was the auto stop limit. This is the actual order. Temp order. We'll give it a different name. So I've saved it. Click. There it is. Temp order. Now, let's say that I wanted to modify this. I can click Edit. And I can add a leg. So again, the same stop loss of 12, but this one, I'm going to put in a profit target of 40. So if I put in 4 contracts, 3 of them will be at a take profit at 20. 1 of them will be at a take profit of 40, and both of them will be at that auto break even that I talked about. So I've got to have at least 4 to make this work. Now I can drop this to 2 and 1 because it defaults to 3. So if I said, okay, buy 3. So if I buy 3, 2 of them, they're take profits at 20. 1 of them, they're take profits at 40. I've given it a stop, an auto break even, saving the template, overwrite, yes, okay. And so now, if I place an order, if I hit buy market or buy ask or whatever, when I'm filled, it'll be for 3 contracts with that strategy as far as taking profits and stops. At the same time, if I right click here, I could sell 3 if I'm shorting. Sell MIT 3. MIT stands for market if touched, meaning the order will sit here and rest and will not activate unless the chart comes up to that level and touches this price. The moment it touches this price, it does a market sell order. Market if touched. That's MIT. All right. And then you got your brackets and everything on the other here, just like on Tradovate. This is an advantage over TradingView because TradingView, you cannot have a multi-tiered, you can't do a multi-bracket order in TradingView. We know that you can do it in Tradovate, so nice. So most of the things that you can do in Tradovate are completely accessible and usable over here in NinjaTrader. All right, let's talk about some indicators real quick. NinjaTrader's been around for a long time. There's a crap load of custom indicators. I'm going to zoom in here so we can take a closer look at what just simply comes built in. I'm not going to stop and talk about them so much there, but in case you're all of them anyway, a few I'll point out, like here's a bar timer. Just sits beside the candle and tells you how long until this bar closes. Here's your Bollinger. Here's your ATR. Commodity Channel Index, very similar to RSI, Chaikin. Some of you may be looking for specific tickers, or not tickers, indicators, so I'm just kind of scrolling through this. There's all the edgefuls. They actually have it have fair value gap built in. Oops, I knew that was going to do that. I shouldn't have done that. Hang on. So they automatically have the fair value gaps there, which is nice. Let me point out that many of the things that we say like VWAP, we just call it VWAP, but in here it's called order flow VWAP. Order flow volume profile. I'm not sure why they changed the names, but they did. They actually have another volume profile down at the bottom, and it doesn't do anywhere near what this one does. I'm not sure why that is. There's your RSI, simple moving average, standard deviation, stochastic. And so on. All right. Let's add RSI. Now notice, if I click it one time, oh shoot, I'm going to have to leave this page. Okay, or leave that, zoom in. So I've clicked RSI one time. Everything over here is grayed out. Nothing over here unlocks until you double click it to add it, or you can also click up here and then click add down here. Same thing. One click, two click, or double click. Now that I've added the RSI, all this unlocks and I can come over here and change the values as I want to. We will apply, and you can see that it's down there now. Maybe we want to do a simple moving average. I want the 50. So here it is over here. I come over here. I come over here. Change that from a 14 to a 50. apply. And of course, we can change colors and stuff, but there you can see it's this kind of, zoom in there. There it is right there. But I don't like the color, or I don't like the width. Maybe I want it to be bigger. So what I'll do is I'll come down here to the plots right here. Expand the SMA. Let's say that I want my 50 color to be blue. Look at all these colors. So it's got quite a few colors. Or you can just type it in. BLUE. And, well, BL. Oh. Well, it was there a minute ago. I forgot. Anyway, blue. Now, it's not going to show up very much on the chart. You can see it's very faint. So I'm going to leave it as a line. I'm going to give it a size of 5. Now I can see it. Hopefully you can see that. See, there's your 50 moving average, simple. Simple 50 moving average. All right. So you can add your indicators as you wish and so on. All right. So you can get to the indicators either by this little zigzag up here at the very top, or you can right-click it and go to indicators. What else is left up here? Strategies. If you've ever used Thinkorswim, you know that very few people understand this, but and TradingView has the same thing, the idea of where you can program in a strategy, buy on this condition, sell on this condition, show me a P&L report. Same thing here. You can build a strategy that says, I buy, I sell based on this, this, or this, and does this strategy work? And then finally, properties is this last one. This is properties of the chart. You can change the font, what the indent on the right margin is, chart trader hidden, all that kind of stuff. We turn that on. What do you want it to say? In the tab, you say, what is the tab? The tab, look, follow my arrow here, down to the left, down to the left, down to the left. Right here is a tab. In Tradovate, they put the tabs up at the top. NinjaTrader, they're down at the bottom. Okay. Let's see, what else can I tell you? Charting, or drawing lines and stuff. Then we'll get to some wrap-up kind of stuff. Right-click, drawing tools, ray. I'm going to mark from this high to this high. I want you to notice that it's not on the right chart. It's on the left side. It's not on the right side. Nowhere over here. Why is that? By default, and this is just something that you've got to go through in the very beginning, you got to come over here and you got to double click on this ray. And it has to do with this phrase called attach to. And right now it's only attached to my 30-minute chart. I have to attach it to all charts. Then, and I set my colors and all that kind of stuff. Then I go to template, save as default. I got it. First time I go through all your indicators, your lines and stuff like that, you're going to have to do this. And then once you do that, from then on, it'll act the correct way. And now you can see that, let me bring this down. So this is a 5-minute chart on the right, a 30-minute chart on the left. What I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this 30-minute chart. I'm going to collapse this 5-minute chart. And what do we see? I comparing, well, actually, this is where I endpointed. And you can see I endpointed right there. And this diagram, this diagonal line, is in the correct place on both charts. Now, we know this works on TradingView, but it doesn't work on Tradovate. So, at any rate, okay. Let's wind this down. This is kind of the quick and dirty overview, but let me just go back and just show you. You may have to watch this a couple times. I understand. But let's just go over here to my MNQ. And this brings up now a fully loaded, I've got every screen exactly where I want it. Then I come back down here to the bottom. I go over to the control panel. I go to my workspaces and I save it. Now, the first time you'll have to create a new one that'll be blank. So you create a new blank workspace, put all your stuff in it, and then you come over and save it when you're done. So here, for example, I've got my GEX levels and the gamma levels. I'm kind of looking at that. Here I've got edgeful in this top one up here, this top center one up here. That's the edgeful orb. Then below it is the edgeful initial balance. I've got the watch list down here, which they call market analyzer. I got fair value gaps turned on, and these are my linear regression standard deviation lines. Panel here, DOM, you know. You can set it up any way you want to. It's a layout I'm experimenting with. Once you get everything laid out the way you want to, you come back down here to the bottom to your taskbar, go over to the blank control center, workspace, save it. Okay. Anyway, folks, let's go back to the final reason. So why NinjaTrader? Well, most of us are already paying a data fee to Tradovate. So we're already paying a data fee to Tradovate. So should we pay a data fee? Some of us are also having to pay a data fee for different reasons to TradingView. Well, in this scenario, you don't have to pay if you're trading futures, and that's it, kind of thing, then one data fee, one monthly data fee, Tradovate. You don't have to pay TradingView anything more. TradingView has an annual subscription. NinjaTrader does not. Tradovate is better as a charting platform, but the question that I would say is NinjaTrader good enough? For example, let's just say I'll just pick this right here, and if I want to put draw a rectangle here. Now, on TradingView and Tradovate, you could just double click it and say turn it into a ray or whatever, and it'll go all the way to the right. Well, NinjaTrader doesn't do that. I have to come in here and simply go to the end time and extend it by a day or two or three. All right, I just have to do it that way. Okay, so there are a few nuances here about using it, but if it works, it can save you a lot of money. It can simplify your life as far as some of the things that just annoy you to no end, as far as trying to mark up your charts on Tradovate. Tradovate's just not a charting platform. That's why we've been using TradingView as a charting platform, but TradingView stinks as a trading platform if you like a multi-leg bracket order, which I do. But NinjaTrader and Tradovate shine at doing a multi-leg bracket order. So there you go. The other thing about it too is that because Tradovate and NinjaTrader are on the same servers, you don't have that microsecond latency, that drag that you're going to experience if you're going through TradingView, because TradingView has to pull data, and there's a little bit of delay there. Then it displays it, then you trade on it, and then it's got to send it back to Tradovate. And it's, is it enough for us to notice? Usually not. But there is a little tiny amount of delay in all that, and you don't have that delay here using NinjaTrader because it's on the same server as Tradovate. So anyway, folks, that's that's my overview of NinjaTrader. I am really excited about looking at this NinjaTrader here. There's no cost to use it. It honors everything that I have got set up on Tradovate. It charts better than Tradovate. Not as good as TradingView, but good enough for me, and that's fine. It's got scripts. It's supported by Edgeful, MentorQ, and probably many others. You can actually get a script to work. If any of you have ever tried to get ChatGPT or Grok to write a script for Tradovate, you know that that is just absolute effort and futility. It just can't be done half the time. It just, it's a pain in the butt to make it work. NinjaTrader is much easier. Oh, I was going to show you that last little thing about, as we wind down here, about if you want to do scripting on NinjaTrader and you want ChatGPT to write it for you. So here's the NinjaScript editor. Folks, if you're done with it, if you're not a coder, this is it. I'm done. You can go away. If you want to do some scripting and stuff, this is for you guys. But otherwise, if you don't care about this kind of stuff, you guys can drop at this point. And appreciate you tuning in. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to go to, let's say, a new indicator. Now, it's going to ask me a couple different questions. For example, it's going to try and build an indicator for me. And so I'm just going to say my custom indicator, or, or whatever it may be. On bar close, just answering some of these questions if I know the answers. Anyway, at this point, I'm done enough, and I say generate. I don't care about anything here except up here at the very top, it says using declarations. I'm going to expand that. Okay. And I am from end region to the start of the region. I'm going to copy all of this. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to throw it over in Notepad. I'm going to put it in Notepad. Now the reason, and then I'm going to get my script from ChatGPT, and then I'm going to highlight all this and I'm going to delete it. The problem is that when I put the script in from ChatGPT, it is missing a lot of these declarations up here. So the script will fail. Even if everything else is right, ChatGPT's script will fail because for whatever reason, it does not know to use these declarations. So we're going to simply make sure that we're going to append these to the top of the ChatGPT script. Sometimes there'll be duplicates. Look for those, scan for those, and get rid of the duplicates. But I have experienced that firsthand, and I had to go hunt down, why didn't this script work? And I found out it's because ChatGPT did not know to put these things in it. So that's all you need to know as far as the scripting part. From there, go to YouTube or whatever if you're going to write your own scripts. Beyond that, I hope this helps you guys, helps you make a decision and stuff like that. There's definitely still a lot more for me to learn about this trading platform, but if you get something from it, do let me know. If you decide to switch to it, let me know. And with that, this is Marziti signing off. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.